Hello, I hope you're doing well. This is another video in my Hobonichi Cousin, and this time in the daily section. A lot of you seem to really like the last one, so I'm going to try to do more of them. So initially, I wanted this to be like a rainbow week, so you can see that I started with a pink strawberry sort of theme, but I don't know what happened. I kind of just stopped midway through the video, and yeah, this is how I ended up with this really random assortment of themes. However, I hope you still find some inspiration in the different doodles and stuff. Anyways, like I said, Monday was a strawberry theme, so I brought out this berry mauve color and a bright red and also a green. You probably know the drill. I start off with my today header, my 3 habits, which are medication, morning walk, and cleaning something. And then I have my work to-dos, life stuff, my daily prompt, and my free journaling space. For Monday, I put down this brainstorm emoji because I am currently working on autumn, birthday, and Halloween stuff. I wanted to create like an exhaustive list of things to design so that I can stay on schedule and ahead. Oh, something cool. So currently I'm using the Leonardo Momento Magico fountain pen in the extra fine nib. And normally I have it inked up with the DeAtramentis document black ink. However, after I ran out of the ink last time, I didn't refill it. So I think the day before I cleaned it out and I filled it up with platinum ᴘ괏ᴅᴜᴜ. It's apparently the blackest black fountain pen ink on the market. At least that's what it's like advertised as. And this was kindly gifted to me by one of my customers, and I just wanted to try it out this week. I will talk a little bit more about this ink later in the video. But yeah, for now, I just wrote down the to-do list and my gym stuff. Also on Monday, I put down this sushi emoji because I had a little sushi dinner date. This has been a very, very social week. I think so far I've had 3 social things this week, and then I have another one tomorrow with friends. I always have a great time when I go out with people. However, the aftermath is very hard to deal with. Like, when I say I'm very introverted, it is not an exaggeration at all. I think yesterday, Friday, after dinner, I just completely fell asleep for 3 hours because my social battery was so low. So yeah, I'm happy to be a little bit more social nowadays after I finished up the past few months of deadlines and events, but I do think I need to be a little bit careful still. Anyways, I doodled a bunch of strawberries, and I used a mix of the mauve pink color and also the bright red. And then for the little strawberry seeds, I just used a white jelly roll. Since I have been using the Hobonichi Cousin for maybe 5 years now, there is a little bit of repetition, and sometimes I get a little bit bored doing the same themes over and over again. So lately I've been trying to step outside of my comfort zone a little bit, especially with my color choices. I have been trying to grab some bolder colors, deeper colors, and also working with contrasting colors. A video idea that I had is a blindfolded pick your markers challenge. This is something that I think a lot of art channels do, but I haven't really seen it in the planner community, I think. But basically, I'm going to be blindfolded, obviously, and I don't know, I have to pick 3 random markers and create a theme out of that. I will try to do that in the next few weeks. I think it'll be really fun. So here I'm writing my afternoon entry, and then I finished off this spread in the evening, and you will see that my lighting becomes atrocious. I might have mentioned this previously, but I often do my journaling in the morning and then in the evening, so it's very hard to control for lighting, and I don't really want to change up the way I do things just because I'm filming. For this particular day, I was finishing off this entry pretty late at night because I had my sushi dinner. I just wrote recap with my brush pen and roughly outlined it with my Energel Clena. I feel like I haven't done this font in quite a while. I used to be really into it. But yeah, underneath I doodled a piece of sushi, some chopsticks, and also a cup of coffee because we ended up getting coffee afterwards as well. Yes, in the evening. I feel like coffee doesn't really affect my sleep anymore. However, at the same time, I struggle without it, so I don't really know what that's about. As you can see, I often have brain fart moments and misspell things as I write, and usually I just cross it off. Here I miswrote or misspelled guard like twice. Sometimes I still struggle with the spelling of basic words, and I have to write it out like both ways in order to see which one looks more correct. If you know the reason behind that, let me know. Like, is it because English isn't my first language, or if it's like some other neurological issue? Anyways, moving on to Tuesday. So if I was to follow the rainbow plan that I had in mind, Tuesday would have been orange, and I did stick to kind of an orangey theme. However, I brought in some greens and yellows and purples as well, so it's not as apparent that it's an orange theme. But yeah, I decided to doodle some carrots, and of course, like when you think of a carrot, it's usually orange. However, there's also those like rainbow multicolored carrots, so I also doodled a yellow one and a purple one. Oh, and as a little tip, you might notice this scrap piece of cardstock coming out here and there. I always like to use scrap pieces of paper to help with my doodles. So in this case, I put it underneath the page so that I can extend the carrot leaves outside of the page without like accidentally coloring down the side of the Hobonichi. Also, towards the beginning when I was doing the strawberry doodles, I used this piece of cardstock to cover up the to-do list column so that I can doodle the leaves of the strawberries, I believe, again without going inside the to-do list column. Hopefully I'm making sense, but yeah, this is a little trick that I have. Apart from the doodles and decorations, I more or less follow the same layout, so I didn't bother with like boring you guys with writing out my to-do list every single day, so there are a few skips here and there. Because I couldn't get as much as I wanted to done on Monday, Tuesday was a very heavy design day, so I hand-lettered Design Marathon and put down this laptop emoji. And then in the evening, I decided to dedicate that little space to write down my review of Platinum Chokuro, which is the ink that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So the positives of this ink is that I do believe it is very black and there's no shading whatsoever. I also think that it is like the perfect consistency. It's not too wet and it's not too dry. However, a con that I had, which I don't really know how I can better define it, but I just felt like my handwriting looked really different, and I didn't like my handwriting using this ink. I'm not too sure why that is the case. I don't really think it's the fault of the ink, but it just happens that it doesn't really work with my handwriting, I think. I'm definitely gonna keep using this ink for a while longer just to see if I kind of can get used to it, because I really do like the formula. I also got a lot of questions on TikTok asking whether I prefer this over the Platinum Carbon Black ink. Unfortunately, I do not have that ink, so I'm not too sure. As for the comparison between Chokuro and DeAtramentis Document Black, at this time, I still prefer Document Black, just because I think I'm more used to it at this point, and even though the Document Black isn't as black as this one, it is only by a very small margin, and I don't really notice it unless I look very, very close. Okay, I rambled too much about that ink. Moving on to Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday is evidently yellow. I do remember I was very overwhelmed with work and deadlines on Wednesday, so unfortunately I didn't get as creative and as elaborate with my doodles on Wednesday. So I do apologize. It's not very inspiring to look at. I put down a little pencil doodle sticker to mark in that I wanted to get organized with my design schedule. I have, again, my autumn, birthday, and Halloween stuff all lined up, in addition to the 2026 monthly kits, which is starting to give me a little bit of grief, but I'm trying to keep my morale up. So yeah, just as a general outline, I doodled some of these little daisies. I just used my various yellow markers to draw in the center, and then I used my Energel Clena to outline it and draw in the petals. This isn't the design schedule that I needed to create, but rather the outline of the schedule so that I don't leave out any like important events. Oh, also on Wednesday, I had to pick up a Sephora order, and I signed up for my first spin class, which I don't know why I did that. It was just a spur of the moment thing, and there was no wait list, so I just got in, and I went at 5:30 p.m. I believe. And you know what? I actually did pretty well. I died just a little bit, but I made it through the entire 1-hour class. My only issue is that I wear glasses, and especially when I get sweaty, it falls down. And so I decided to take off my glasses towards the beginning of the class, and I couldn't see like 80% of what the instructions were, so I probably looked really foolish. It was really fun though, and I'll probably want to go back and try again. Okay, then Thursday was supposed to be green, and I just completely ditched the idea of like doodling something that's green. Instead, I based it around this really cool insects and critters washi tape from the washi station, and I also layered on top a few stickers from Dear Whoever Shop, and it's kind of a random assortment of things. We have paper clips, keys, leaves, again, insects, reptiles, things like that, but for some reason I feel like the randomness works well together. Thursday was another kind of different day because I had a coffee date at around 2, and because I was going downtown, I decided to stop by the Vancouver pen shop, and it was very exciting to see my Esterbrook collab in person. I didn't want to draw too much attention. I just honestly wanted to see it for myself. So I went to the Vancouver pen shop and I asked them if they had a TWSBI Esterbrook available, and they asked me for my order number, which was really awkward for me to explain that I really wanted to just take a photo of it. They were very, very nice, and they also helped me like stage the photo and everything. So yeah, it was overall a really good time. But yeah, apart from that, we went to a bakery for some coffee, and then went to the seaside just to watch the boats, and it was a very great day. I did end up doing a little bit of doodling on this day, but I mainly copied the little floral doodles on the actual washi tape, so I can't really take credit for those ideas. This is why I also love using stickers, washi tapes, and stationery from other artists. It really inspires me, and I feel like it pushes me to try new things with my own designs. Like in my own designs, I'm not gonna copy the florals from this washi tape because it was drawn by another artist, and you know, that would be infringement or just unethical at best. However, maybe from this washi tape, I'm inspired to add little blue flowers in the future. Not necessarily the same designs as the ones on this washi tape, but just like little blue flowers. I don't know if I'm making sense at all. Yes, it is 12:30 a.m. I should probably head to bed. These few pages weren't as inspiring as I initially intended for them to be, but I hope you still found some inspiration, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Take care.